In an age of skyrocketing divorce rates, is it really possible to make love last? Welcome to the Falling in Love Forever show with Doctors Barbara and Michael Grossman, the well-known relationship experts and best-selling authors of The Marriage Map book. Each week, they share the latest information to help you enjoy your romantic partnerships so you can fall in love forever. Here are your hosts, Doctors Barbara and Michael Grossman.
Hi, I'm Dr. Michael Grossman.
I'm Dr. Barbara Grossman. Tonight we're going to do something different. We're writing a new book, and the book has a different angle on it. We're going to apply the latest revelations from science to the world of relationships. I thought that would be a great opportunity for us to interview Dr. Michael here because he has a very strong science background, and we want you all to be knowing some of the opportunities that science has to elevate our lives and teach us how to be better partners. So Michael, would you tell the audience about our new book, what about ageless love, and what that has to do with science?
So ageless love is our conception, Barbara and I, about what it takes to be in romantic love ongoingly, forever, not just for a couple of years in the beginning of your relationship, but your whole lifetime. So there are different components of ageless love. So one part of it is focusing on your mind and your thoughts. One part is focusing on the body, maintaining youthfulness and vitality in your body your whole life. And one part of it is involving your spiritual life, integrating spirituality and the changes that occur in your mind and body from being in touch with the spiritual realms. So that's the big conception of the book. So what are we going to talk about tonight?
So I want the audience to know how quantum physics relates to their relationship. Would you kindly illuminate us?
So quantum physics is a breakthrough in understanding what reality is. So most people who've been in school have learned about physics of the 19th century. And that understanding is that the world is made up of mechanical objects. And if we understand the movement and the momentum of these different objects, we could explain all kinds of things: how to get a rocket ship to the moon, how an airplane works, how television works and radio, and we can get all kinds of mechanical things. And we understand that the world is a mechanical world, and if we just understand all the details about the objects in our lives, we can predict everything that's going to happen, and then we can be in control of our world. That's the old science. Now, quantum science is very different. The quantum mechanical world is very different. And we don't learn that much about the quantum mechanical world in school because it doesn't make sense in terms of the world being just little particles and material objects that bounce into each other. The quantum mechanical world describes that little tiny aspects of the world are electrons and neutrons, protons, and photons. And when, for instance, you take electrons behave in a very magical way. And it drives scientists a little crazy to try to figure it out, because electrons are a wave. But if you start looking at it and trying to analyze where it is, it turns into a particle that you can then localize and know everything about it. But when you stop looking at it, it turns back into a wave. And a wave is something that you can't localize. And this drives scientists crazy. They don't understand this.
So, Michael, could you tell the audience what relevance this has to their most intimate, important relationship?
So when you try to really know everything for certain about your partner, you want to be sure they really love you. It's a very difficult thing because once you do it, you turn them into a particle, you turn them into a known object. And it takes all the majesty, all the adventure, all the mystery out of the relationship. So, in the beginning of falling in love with your partner, you're so happy to just love them as they are, and you don't really know all the details about them, and you don't know, and you just love not knowing and learning a little bit more about this and not knowing about what they like and don't like and how they want to do this and that. And you just love the uncertainty of being with them. It's a mystery, and you're romantically in love with this mysterious other. The more you get into the certainty about them, and you demand certainty, and you demand to know the details of what is going to happen, how it happens, how they think, how they be, how they do, then romance fades away, and you're left being with them, and it's a little bit of a burden. It's a little flat. The adventure seems to be dissolved, and you're stuck with this flat thing that you're kind of like, oh, got to go through this again.
So it sounds like you're looking to help people understand what the possibilities of what we say in other settings, to balance mystery with predictability, so that or reliability. That balance is so important. You're introducing a new language, it seems to me, for helping couples understand how they need to be both a particle in some respects. They need to keep their word. They need to tell the truth. They need to follow up on things. On the other hand, they need to be a wave in their life, in the sense of being in the moment, being creative, following the possibility of their own creativity, and so that there's both those elements present in a relationship. It keeps it juicy and alive and growing.
That is right. You want to have both those things. In a romantic relationship is very different than a love relationship that is based upon child parent, brother sister. Those relationships are smooth and even, and everything is very calm in that relationship. In a romantic partnership, you've got to have that mystery there. That's what gives energy to romance, that mystery. And if you don't have the mystery, it doesn't matter how much togetherness, how much understanding, how much security there is, you've lost that mystery, and that energy of romance is gone. So how to have both those things together is what we look at in terms of helping our couples to experience ongoing romance.
Right. In the future, we look forward to translating this more, so that you know that even in conversations, when you make assertions about your partner and try to localize them and peg them in some implied accusation, that makes them a particle. And of course, the partner has an opportunity to either defend themselves and confirm their particleness, or they can be wave-like in their response. And we look forward to teaching you how to be more wave-like, so that you can balance your relationships, so that there's predictability as appropriate, and there's your wave nature, your mystery, that keeps your relationship growing and alive and exciting.
And Dr. Barbara and I are creating 5 classes that are going to be video classes, 3 components of each class, where you're going to get homework and practices to allow you to create that stability in your relationship, along with that mystery, along with that adventure, so that you can partner together with your romantic partner to create your life. Because when you create from certainty, there's no romance there. When you create from not knowing, from being in the unknown, you can create whatever future you want.
You're talking about possibility, aren't you?
Possibility. So romantic partnership is creating from possibility, where you have an understanding of what you're agreeing as this is what our security is. But then you have to leave open a big space for possibility.
Which is new expression, new ideas, new creations.
Yes. And so when we look at the practicality of this, we talk about ballroom dancing. Barbara and I are ballroom dancers. We compete in ballroom dancing. And ballroom dancing has a structure. In standard ballroom dancing, you have a structure where each partner is stuck with the other and you don't let go of each other. You're holding on to each other. And so it's a close relationship. It's stable, it's secure. There's just you and your partner. But you have to have the ability to have freedom of movement within that restriction. And the freedom of movement is what happens in ballroom dancing when each partner then has one side of them is free from movement and self-expression. And you see ballroom dancers, they continue to hold each other, but there's such freedom of movement. It's not boring. It's not so stable that you're uncomfortable and there's no possibilities for movement. It's not like when you hug each other in slow dance, there's really not a lot you can do. Nor is it like rock and roll where you're just neither one of you are holding on to the other, you're just wiggling. It's both together. The intimacy of being just me and you, and we're going to be moving around and you don't quite know how these movements are going to work because it's really like open to all possibilities of movement. So both those things together are what creates romance.
So when you talk like that, I get the picture that you're describing a connection that's stable plus a equal element of creativity that you each bring as individuals to the partnership, and it keeps growing and it represents a kind of unending mystery.
That's correct. And when we go back to the understanding of quantum mechanics, as we describe in our book, the orbital of an electron is kind of set in a certain pattern, but you can't localize the electron to any particular place. It's just randomly anywhere in this field. And this orbital that the electron is just moving around as a wave in this field, you can invite another electron into that orbit, only one other electron. You only have two electrons in a particular orbit. And that electron has to have the opposite spin from the first electron. And they both move in that same orbit together. And those orbitals can change. You could add photons of energy and push those electrons up to a bigger orbit, more complex orbit. But they still have to have opposite spins, and you're only allowed to have two electrons in any orbit.
So you're describing the universe is filled with these orbits of pairs of electrons, and that this is the underlying reality of our entire creative universe.
That's correct. Every atom has that same rules about it. Two electrons in any one orbit, they have to have opposite spins, and they can move into different orbits, but they always have to have the opposite spins. And the opposite spins is how in romantic partnership, we're not the same. We have a lot of things that are the same, but there's a lot of things that are different.
And you say, and I think you're drawing that as a metaphor for all of our couples.
Yeah.
They are in orbits together. They don't have to be the same. There's a stability factor in it, but there's also a creativity factor in it. And you want couples to balance both and live a full, beautiful, deliciously loving life together that fulfills their dreams.
Absolutely correct. And what we do in our book and what we do in our classes and courses is we give you practical things to do to allow this to unfold in your life, this balance between security and mystery. we give you things to do, and each of these ways you have practices to do, and we give you skills to learn. And that's a real critical thing, to have the skill, because it's not just intellectual. Intellectual is a part of it, but then you've got to develop the skills to bring it into your life and make it real.
I like that. I like that. I want that for our couples. It brings ongoing growth and joy, and it allows couples to live out a lifetime that's very fulfilling.
Excellent. So we invite you all to look for our book, Ageless Love, which will be coming out probably like in August of this year, 2021. And we invite you to look for our classes and courses, which will be coming out also about the same time. So it's a pleasure to talk to you all.
Wishing you love.
Thanks so much, everybody. Bye now.
Thank you for watching the Falling in Love Forever show with Doctors Barbara and Michael Grossman. Join us next week for another informative discussion to help you keep your love alive. Be sure to visit us at themarriagemap.com or find out about our relationship classes at fallinginloveforever.com.